Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Super Mario Galaxy. If you don't know about Mario, well, let me just tell you that this is, well, a 3D adventure platforming game. And very much in the same way as Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, in Super Mario Galaxy, you basically go around different levels collecting stars. It's nothing really new in that kind of concept, I suppose. But the levels in this game are a little different. I mean, levels in all of those games were different, but I think Super Mario Galaxy was cool in how it really played with the whole galaxy thing in a fun way, where a lot of the levels were kind of just out in space and kind of floating rocks and such. It wasn't a bunch of big cohesive areas that were supposed to be, contained or anything. There were just a lot of little different areas for you to jump to, and a lot of these little planetoids and little sections of land have their own force of gravity. And I mean, you can run and jump, and you have an attack, and, it's very much similar to other 3D Mario games, but it's a little different, and there's little things here and there that perhaps you might call gimmicky, but I think are actually pretty fun. There's some interesting mechanics of, like, flinging yourself around in these little sticky goo things, and there's some neat little power-ups like a bee suit power-up, which allows you to kind of like crawl onto walls that have honey on them, and allows you to fly for a limited amount of time. And there's also a spring power-up which allows you to jump very high, and it's a little awkward to move around without jumping, but it's pretty interesting, the things they do. And a lot of this incorporates actually some of this some of the physics things, because some of these different like platforms, like I say, have their own centers of gravity. So sometimes you have to go from platform to platform, getting into their little orbit, their gravitational pull, so you can land onto new platforms. And it's pretty simple for the most part. I mean, there's nothing too complicated in it. Very levelly, I suppose. There's different things to do in different levels. There's times when you have to collect these 5 pieces of a star that will shoot you to another spot. There are. Now, there's a lot of cool little like things that are just added in, and you might do them on different areas, like on other levels, but they're worked in pretty well. Where there's usually some kind of easy, simple tutorial-ish. It's not really a tutorial, but it kind of getting you used to these ideas, and then it kind of throws you into more complicated situations later on, and it mixes up the ideas a bit and makes you have to think, and it makes you have to react in ways that you wouldn't necessarily do in other Mario games, because these features are more unique to this one. I mean, there's not much with the story either. There's kind of a story going on, but it's mostly told in this certain area, because basically you're on this big space station, and you're being launched to these different galaxies, and there are multiple stars to get in each of the galaxies. You only need so many to actually beat the game, but you can go off and try to get all of those stars, which range from really easy to a few of them were almost impossible. Almost impossible. And it's really fun, and it's nice that they have that spread in there. It's still kind of like a hub world, but it doesn't feel that much like a hub world. It feels more like it's just a place for you to be before you go to different levels. It feels like it's integrated a little better than just a central hub, but really it is just like that, I suppose. And there is story. You can go to a certain spot in this hub world to get little pieces of the backstory as you go, but you don't really need to. They can be skipped, and it doesn't add a whole lot. I mean, it doesn't add anything really to the gameplay. It just kind of adds to, like, oh, that's kind of neat, so if you want a little story with it, that's actually interesting. And one of the things I think that won me over about this game so much, besides it being very fun to play, controlling really well, and doing a lot of different things, new things, interesting little things, here and there, with Mario mechanics and, gameplay. This game actually has really good atmosphere, and I'm not just saying that because it's clever to say. It's actually, like, I usually don't care about this kind of stuff either, but I think it has like really good soundtrack. It's really good music on a lot of it. This beautiful like orchestral stuff going on. The score is it's awesome, and it fits really well. The visuals in it are really good. Like, I like that it's very dark on a lot of the levels and such because you're in space, but they have a lot of vibrant other colors contrasting with that a bit too, and popping out like harsh like dark blues and the blacks and stuff of backgrounds pop really well, or go really well with like vibrant like green grassy planetoids and such. And it looks really good, and perhaps that's just because it is a Wii game and it's more powerful than other systems that Mario games have been on before, that I thought it looked really nice. But I think that went really well, and like just that they kind of had the cool little gravity things going on too. So like the little gravity things to remind you like, oh yeah, you're in space. The music and the visuals, all of that really kind of came together for me and made this experience like really, really super enjoyable and memorable. And it's actually probably my second favorite Mario game I've ever played. So I mean that's saying something also. And I will say in regards to Super Mario Galaxy 2, which I played first, I do actually like this better, even though I would say that Super Mario Galaxy 2 is a better game, and that's for a different review, really. But all these little atmosphere things in here, while 2 I think has probably better level design and there's more levels and stuff, it's more built towards the gameplay, which is, I would say, makes it better. This one is just so nice with like the polish and the feel of it, and it's great. And it's probably also surprising because I had heard that this wasn't a very good game. I mean, I heard that the second one was awesome, but I heard a lot of people say that the first Super Mario Galaxy was kind of they weren't that impressed with it. So I had it, I got it, and I didn't play it for a while just because I thought, oh, well, it might not be that great anyway, but I just kind of wanted to get it because I already had the second one. And then when I finally played it, I was really glad that I did. It was really fun, and just, man, it's a lot of fun, and it's really well done. A lot of cool places to go, things to see, stuff to do. There's some cool challenges along the way, too, with these different comets that go by every once in a while, so that it adds new stars for you to do on levels, or for things like taking no damage, or beating bosses in a certain amount of time, or trying to collect so many. I think there was one where you have to collect certain coins and stuff on them too. It's cool little challenges they throw in there that give these levels some replayability, which is pretty cool, and they can actually challenge you a bit more. And therefore, if you thought it was a little too easy the first time around, you can go back and do that. And I thought that was really interesting too. But as much as I do love this game, and that's a lot, based on what I just told you, you can tell that that's a lot. But there are a few things that I didn't quite like about it. Every game has flaws, and this one had a few. One of them is that with the controls and the gravitational thing, and how you can go like underneath, walk on the bottom stuff of platforms, certain planetoids and stuff. Sometimes the camera doesn't like to follow you, or it does, and it does a weird thing to the controls where the camera will be following you, and the way the camera turns, like you'll be running in a certain direction, and then the camera will turn, and you're moving in the opposite of the direction you were on the other screen because of the way the camera turned. And then the thing is, like, it kind of locks so that you're still going in that direction, so hitting a different direction and where you should go, like you hit forward on it, instead of going forward because you're upside down, it makes you go backwards. It can be a little confusing with that sometimes and goofy. And sometimes the gravitational pull doesn't always want to take when you're on jumps either. So you have to get really precisely like close to some of these different platforms in order for the gravity to take hold of you and put you on them. So that can be tough. And that can be kind of annoying too, at times. But for the most part, it's not too bad. But it did happen more than just a couple times. It's something where it's gonna happen, and you're gonna get frustrated with it. But you should really just try to play through it, because there's a lot to love about this game. So I think that's worth trying to look over a bit, or at least trying to get past. Unless it happens at a horrible spot for you, and then, you know, like, if it happens during a boss fight, which I don't believe I experienced, but that could be a pretty big problem. Well, there's this whole thing with the co-op, which I think also I'm kind of spoiled because, like I said, I played the second game first. So in there, you actually had a lot of stuff you could do with your second player, and in here, it feels like they didn't have it fleshed out yet. Where the second player, and I think maybe you can have up to 4, but maybe it's only 2. I think it might only be 2 in this game. The second player has a cursor on the screen. And I guess this is something I didn't really mention about the gameplay, but you can collect things called star bits. And you're able to shoot these things called star bits by pointing your Wiimote at the screen and hitting a button, and then you can shoot them. And to collect them, you can either walk over them with Mario, or because a lot of them are in the background and such, you have to hover over it with your cursor with the Wiimote. And that's, you know, that's a thing you can do. You can use these star bits to open up other things on the overworld as well, or the hub world, I suppose it would be called. And that's cool. So you kind of want to collect them and save them, but they can be helpful for stunning enemies, and some enemies will require you to use those to actually beat them, so having some in stock is always good. Plus getting so many, I think, gives you an extra life also. So it's really nice. It's a cool little feature that was added in too. But the thing is, okay, so in co-op, the second player can only have that cursor. That's all they are, is a cursor going around the screen. So basically, their abilities are limited to collecting those star bits so that the first player doesn't have to, and shooting those star bits, again, so the first player doesn't have to and can focus on what they're doing. It's just kind of an easier way for the first player to play, if second player knows what they're doing, of course. And there's only one other feature that is available, and that is, see, if you, the first player jumps at the same time that the second player hovers over the first player and hits the button, it will actually make you do like a super jump. The problem with this is that while it's not necessarily that hard to get down, it is hard to get down with the right timing or in a pinch, just to get to certain areas where it would even be useful to use. Also, it's not the easiest thing to just time out either. Even with practice, it can be kind of tough, even without those circumstances in the way. And the thing that sucks, too, is that the second player can do this at any time. If first player isn't already jumping, or they're just running somewhere, a second player can hover over them and just hit the button, and it'll force them to jump. And that probably shouldn't be a feature, because I don't think the second player should be in control of when first player jumps. That just seems like a bad idea, because a lot of times moving around, trying to shoot things and such, and it seems like it would be easy to accidentally do, and it seems like it would be something that would could easily get them killed, and that wouldn't help the second player either, because they're stuck to wherever the first player is or is looking and such. But I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to stop anyone from being a douchebag about it. So, like, that co-op mode could have been better, or just not included. Like, I know they wanted it to be multiplayer because, you know, Super Mario Sunshine wasn't, and Super Mario 64 wasn't, but that wasn't really the best way to do it, and I wouldn't really have been disappointed if it wasn't, because I tried playing co-op, and as second player, I was just bored. I could do barely anything, and it was dumb. And also, Super Mario Galaxy 2 did it much better. But again, that's for a different video. And my one other complaint is possibly just me, but there is a bonus level to do, that you can unlock that I got to, where these very challenging, levels, and cause it's like a challenge galaxy or something like that. I forget exactly what it's called, but one of these challenges is to ride on. It's riding on a stingray, I believe, is what it is. And the thing is, you're like riding on top of it. You're like surfing on top of it on water. It's wavy water, so you'll kind of like float up, and like as the waves go up like this, the waves will go up, and the way you'll bounce off of those, and you don't really have any control while you're in the air before you go back down a little bit to hit the water again. So the control is a little sporadic in that. Plus, the control for this is holding your remote and tilting it to try and get, the right kind of turn and angle and such, which is actually pretty tough. And it's a fun idea. But the problem is that this is water, wavy water, suspended in midair. There's no railings. You're going at a decent speed. And I also believe, maybe this is incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that it was too also, where like if you lean more forward, you would go faster, and leaning more backwards would go slower. But you were trying to get a certain time and everything, and like get through it, and it was so hard, and I got so mad at it. It's much harder than it needed to be. It's far and away harder than anything else I tried to do in the entire game, which makes me believe that either I was doing something very, very wrong, or it's just insanely hard. So that may or may not really be a thing against it, but I certainly didn't enjoy that myself. But those things, really, honestly, I mean, like I said, it's my second favorite Mario game. They didn't really tarnish my opinion of it too badly. The worst one is probably the co-op mode, and sometimes that camera thing locking on you and such is kind of a hassle, but I think you'll be able to get over it if you're actually enjoying the game. And I guess one more thing also is that I don't think the level design is that great, and I kind of mentioned that too, but the thing is, there are a lot of different levels, which is nice, and there's a few stars to get within each one, plus like the challenge stars that show up, but the thing is, I feel like, I guess I just liked it better in other stuff where, like in Super Mario 64, where you had only, so many levels, and there was a decent amount of levels in there, but each level had, 8 stars or something like that to get, so they really utilized what you could do in those levels. There's a bunch of different things that you could do, and I feel like in Super Mario Galaxy, there's a lot fewer things to do in each level. While there are more levels, and that can add more variety, it's, this doesn't feel like they utilize those levels as well. But then again, they're a bit more bare bones with levels on top of that. So I guess it's alright. Super Mario Galaxy. This is, I would say, a must-have Wii title, okay? I mean, people tell you to get Super Smash Bros. Brawl, people tell you to get Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and you should get those games. You should also get this game, because it is fucking awesome. I mean, I don't know how much it goes for, but I would think, it's probably not really cheap, but I would assume, somewhere in the realm of 30, maybe $40 is actually decent for this game for how good it is. I don't know if you'd be able to find it lower than 30 at most places, and I also kind of doubt it'll be too much over 40. I wouldn't pay over 40 for it if I were you, because it's a little older, it's on the Wii, and, well, because of that stuff, I guess I assume, plus since Super Mario Galaxy 2 was a thing that existed as well, I figured this should probably only cost you 30 to 40, and, it's definitely a great game, highly recommended. And you're also probably wondering, because you see this video on the date there, it was uploaded on Christmas. So you're probably wondering, what the fuck does this review have to do with Christmas? And if you're wondering that, I just want to say, well, this is a game I actually got for Christmas. So that's how I'm tying that in. And I'm sure other people got it for Christmas as well. It's one I feel like I should have had sooner, really. And that's why I think if you waited this long to get it, you might as well pick it up, because it is very good. And it's worth it, and it'll be cheaper than it would have been if you'd got it new anyway, so there's that. it's funny because I got this for Christmas and just didn't touch it for a long time because I thought, well, it's not going to be that great anyway. Who cares? It's not going to be as good as 2. That's what everyone else was saying. But I still wanted to get to it. I tried it, and it was awesome. And I liked it more than the second one. So definitely don't pass this up just because you may have heard likewise. Because right now you're hearing that it's awesome, and it is, and buy it. Because it's one of the most worthwhile things to have on the Wii. Not that it's the strongest library, but you know what I'm saying. You understand. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed, and anything you want to say about the game, put it in the comments. Anything else you want me to review, put it in the comments. See what I can get to, see what I can do. But until then, I've been Sam, and that was my review. So yeah.